They got to play it out. I think that's what you have to do. It's a really tough spot, the way the rotation's constructed. It's just tough because it's not like you have just a lot of interchangeable parts. It's hard to replace the other guys. So there's no immediate answer other than you have to play it out and hope that these guys pitch well. And then by the time comes, then you do make a change.
Doing this the day after their latest comeback win. Giants won 6-5 over the Brewers, the 5th win they've had this year when down by 3 runs or more. Steven Risotto, if you're going to get ahead on these Giants, you definitely want to do it late. Don't do it early because this team will find a way to come back.
They will. And, they're never behind. They are never, or I shouldn't say they're never behind. They're never out of games. That's the thing about this team that has impressed me so much, is that they're never out of games. There are so many opportunities where we're watching this team and we could say, this game's over. And it would have been over in 2022 and 2023 and even 2024.
Yeah, I mean, you go down 1-0, you already feel it's over. Yeah.
Yeah, and this team is just this team's not like that. There's a lot that you could tell from a team based on the way they handle adversity and the way they've answered back, just inning after inning. A team scores 2 runs in the top of the first inning. The Giants answer back with even a run. Gives you some confidence that they have that they're going to have a good offensive night. So that's what's impressed me the most, is that they're never out of games, and it says a lot about a team. And those teams tend to play really well come October. Now that's jumping the gun, and it's still April 20 something, but those teams are kind of what makes up postseason baseball.
Well, I think if there's a confidence factor too, not just as a fan, but as for the players too, to know early on that if the starting pitching serves up a lead early on, we'll talk about the starting pitching in a moment, but to have that confidence. We've seen this in past Giants teams too, the last couple of years. They have been able to rally back, but this year, the way they adjust at the plate, the way they are able to just kind of take it 1 run at a time, it's a confidence booster for this team to know that there is no deficit they can't overcome. And as a fan, it's even more fun because, mid-afternoon games, or always weekday games, are always tough for me because that's right in the middle of nap time for, your lonely morning show. So I'm get home and I'm watching the 5th inning, and I just get this feeling myself. They're down, I think, 5-1 at this point, 5-2 at this point. And I just get the feeling like, watch, I'm going to go down for my nap, and these guys are going to come back and somehow win during that time. And I see Chapman hit that home run, the 100-mile-an-hour home run off of Abner Uribe, the first home run of the year that anyone has hit off a 100-mile-an-hour pitch. And I'm like, yeah, they're going to figure this out. 5th inning ends, turn the TV off, go to sleep for the nap, wake up an hour later. Sure enough, they pulled it off, so I go back and rewatched it. But that's the confidence that this team's feeling right now, and which is really great because, there's been some issues with the pitching here to start the season here, Steve. And that was supposed to be a strength of this team, was the pitching. And the starting pitching over the last week has really left a lot to be desired outside of Logan Webb.
Yeah, and by the way, that swing off Uribe, who is a very tough at bat, by the way, was very impressive by Matt Chapman. That ball got out in a hurry. But no, the pitching
the at bat before that against Jung Hoo Lee. We'll get to the starting pitching in a second. The at bat before Jung Hoo Lee, I think that was probably one of the most nervous at bats I've watched of the year, where Uribe's first pitch was like a 99-mile-an-hour slight, fastball inside that Jung Hoo Lee has to jump out of the way of. I'm like, oh my God, this guy is wild as shit. Like, this is terrifying.
Yeah. The last 2 pitches of his warm-up pitches saw the backstop. The backstop. Like, I mean, I was like, this is going to be, and then I looked at his numbers. I'm like, this guy walks everybody under the sun. But yeah, no, it was an impressive swing. But just going back to the pitching, one of the things that the Giants have kind of set themselves up with is their pitching depth. And it's a good thing, right? They have pitching depth down in AAA that could come up and make a start. We know Kyle Harrison's down there. We know Hayden Birdsong's in the bullpen. But the problem is, their pitching right now is not going deep in the games. The starting pitching is not going deep in the games. Aside from Logan Webb, who could throw 6 2/3 with his eyes closed, you don't have that one guy that could go deep in the games. Now, the trend that we've been seeing is when they go deep in the games, it's usually after they settle down after a big inning, right? Jordan Hicks gives up 5 runs in an inning after walking 2 guys, and then like he settles down and is all of a sudden fine, right? So there's those situations that happen with starting pitchers, but it's I don't want to say it's almost like this team needs one more arm that goes deep in the games, because I think maybe that person could be on the staff if you're looking at a silver lining. Robbie Ray just has thrown too many pitches to be that guy. Justin Verlander has just had bad enough luck to not be that guy. So Jordan Hicks is still trying to figure out his way as a starter, and who knows how long I'm going to keep saying that. It's been too long already, but
yeah,
it's just been, and then the bullpen, there's been some hiccups in the back end with Ryan Walker as of late. Had that big blow up in Anaheim that was just gut punching. And then of course you got taken out yesterday with runners on base in the 9th inning. And as a closer, the worst thing possible you could ever do is be taken out in a save situation in the middle of an inning. And that was Ryan Walker. And let alone for Camilo Doval, who it used to happen to him, Sam. It used to happen to Camilo Doval, and now it's happening to Ryan Walker, and it's almost like deja vu, but the opposite. So
we've come a long way from what was you said it was Mark Willard on opening day asked, how do you balance this closer role, and Bob Melvin said he feels like he has 2 closers. Well, it's kind of like in the NFL. If you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. If you have 2 closers, you have no closers, and that's kind of where the Giants feel, kind of find themselves in right now. Walker, again, it's Dave Fleming kind of said the other day on the Morning Roast, one blown save is not enough to necessitate a change. But this is 3-4 straight outings that Ryan Walker's been, really, really shaky. I mean, the bullpen overall has been really good the last week or so. Then you got, a really bad outing from Lou Trevino. But the other runs have been coming from Ryan Walker. And this is the guy who, again, did really good in the 7th inning when he first came up, kind of was shoved into the closer role last year, and for the most part ran with it really well. So I don't know how long of a leash you give to Ryan Walker here. I always felt the belief was that Doval would eventually take the closer spot back. But the issue I have with Camilo Doval right now is I don't know if we're getting the best version of him. I mean, even yesterday, Doval comes in and walks the first guy on 4 pitches, then throws, 2 more ball to the next guy. Willie Adames has to kind of come over and be like, hey, man, like, we got you. Just make the pitches. We'll make the plays behind you. And Doval is able to kind of, calm down and go after that. But Stephen, one of Doval's, best traits, his strengths is the heat that he brings with his pitches. That cut fastball, I mean, when he was right a couple of years ago, he could get that thing 99, 100, 101 whenever he wanted. He's thrown only 2 pitches this year that have hit triple digits. Both of them were 100 miles an hour. One of them was like a 99.8. So I'm actually rounding up on that one. I don't understand where the heat has gone from Camilo Doval.
Yeah, and I think it's difficult because we always look at relief pitchers like stocks, right? Your stock's up one given year, your stock's down one given year. And with Doval, I guess it was down last year, and now we're seeing him have success, but the velocity's a bit down. So there's that weird trade-off that we're dealing with right now. And look, he looks like he could be the fit at this point in time, but that doesn't mean he's the fit long term, and he's the fit for the rest of the season. And when Bob Melvin was asked, hey, do you still view Ryan Walker as the closer? He kind of danced around it. So either Bob Melvin really is looking at this as a double save situation or a double closer situation. That could be true because it is a long stretch of 17 straight games of playing baseball, which is not easy.
Yeah.
Or this is just Ryan Walker lost a job, and he doesn't want to say that because anytime you bring up closer, losing roles, winning roles, and my personal ideology on this is like I think there's a lot more important relievers than the closer. That's a hot take. That maybe for a different day. But yeah, he's looked good. But here's the thing about Doval: he is the most nervous, calm-looking relief pitcher I've ever seen. He has this energy where he looks calm, but
Tranquilo Camilo, yeah.
But it doesn't translate into his pitching. And when Willie Adames came over from shortstop to whisper into his ear, hey, you got this. We need you right now. That is the best display of a teammate that you could have in that situation. And Adames might not be hitting, but when you have an effect like that, it goes places. It's sound. You know, the rest of the team sees that in the dugout. So yeah, Doval is literally the most wild, calm person. Like you could see things running through his head, but he
Yeah.
tries to play it off cool.
He
It's
puts on
almost
a
like
good
a front.
facade. Yeah. Now, I don't know with Walker. I don't know if there's a back issue at play there. We know that was bothering him back in spring training. Those are not issues that just go away, especially for pitchers. So I don't know if that's an issue there, but there it's like, regardless of whether it's an issue or not, the performance is not quite there. And it puts the bullpen in a serious kind of jeopardizing position here. And I don't know what the shakeup is here. I think the obvious shakeup is you move Hicks to the bullpen to kind of strengthen up that back end a little bit. Maybe even Jordan Hicks becomes your closer at some point this year. I don't know if we're that far away yet. But kind of looking away from the bullpen over to the starting rotation right now. Over the first 13 games, the starting rotation had a 3.41 ERA and a 2.28 opponent batting average. And you were getting great starts from Logan Webb and Jordan Hicks during that time. Robbie Ray looked really solid there. This is like the first two turns through the rotation, basically. Ever since then, though, in the last 13 games, Steven, it's been a 5.43 ERA for the rotation, a 2.71 opponent batting average. Webb, again, carrying the day, but Jordan Hicks has an ERA above 6 during that time. Robbie Ray, ERA above 6. Landon Roop has a 5.74 ERA in that time. Justin Verlander has a 3.86 ERA, but a 5.33 FIP during that time. So he's had a little bit of luck there and trusting in the starting rotation right now.
They gotta play it out. I mean, they just have to play it out. I think that's what you have to do. I don't think there's a move that you need to make just because it's a really tough spot the way the bullpen is constructed. Or sorry, by the way the rotation's constructed, where you have Verlander, who's a veteran guy, Hicks, who's signed here to be a starting pitcher, Robbie Ray, who you get in a trade, who is, effective, at times when he's not walking guys, and he's getting strike one over. So it's just tough because it's not like you have just a lot of interchangeable parts where there's an obvious answer on who to replace. Landon Roop, I don't think should go anywhere. No. And it's hard to replace the other guys. So there's no immediate answer other than you have to play it out and hope that these guys pitch well. And then by the time comes when you can't play it out anymore, then you do make a change. But I think it's still early and you got to play it out. You got to stick with your guys. These are the guys that Buster Posey and Bob Melvin have confidence in enough to where they have prominent spots on this team, and the rotation's important. And we've seen in past years Logan Webb carry them for stretches. That's going to be his role again this year. It's unfortunate that he might be the only guy, but you have to play it out. You have to see what you have in these guys, and I still think it's a little bit too early to make some moves in the rotation.
I agree. The only move, if there's anyone that I want to see, and again, it's as you said, I don't see how you make it. I would like to see Hayden Birdsong get into that rotation.
Me too.
I just don't know where the opening is there because Landon Roop has pitched well enough to show that that's why he got the spot. Birdsong doing great out of the bullpen, but it's just, there's a lot of redundancies then too that happen in the bullpen. Like, do you really need Hayden Birdsong to be a long guy when you got Spencer Bivens as a long guy? Do you really need Spencer Bivens to be a mop-up guy when you got Lou Trevino, who's basically a mop-up guy? Do you really need Lou Trevino when Lou Trevino has just not been impressive in any of his outings here? So they're going to have to jumble up this bullpen a little bit, I think, at some point, just to get some of these, lesser performers out of there. Sean Jelly and Tristan Beck both have ERAs in the 1.3s right now down in AAA Sacramento, so they're ready to go at a moment's notice. But I think it's like you said, you got to play it out, see if these guys can get it together. Robbie Ray has enough of a track record to where I'll give him some leeway to kind of figure it out. Jordan Hicks, I think, has a bit of a shorter leash. Justin Verlander, I think it's whatever you're getting, it's what you're getting. If I had to put a shorter leash on someone, it's probably Jordan Hicks, just because we've seen this play out last year. Like, if you can't show that you can make it for a full season as a starting pitcher in year 2, then I think you just got to bite the bullet with him and be like, dude, you're a reliever for the next 2 years.
You're just not a starter. Yeah.
And I'm kind of curious if how much pushback there would be there, because it seems like an obvious choice. Farhan Zaidi was the guy who said that, hey, Jordan, you're going to be a starting pitcher here. That was not Buster Posey. So the current regime is not indebted to Jordan Hicks in any way, but obviously they're going to give him the opportunity out of, respect for him as a baseball player.
Yeah, and Buster didn't make the move to sign him as a starter, but Buster also made the move to keep him as a starter.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of questions asked this spring about if Jordan Hicks is going to be in the rotation, and Buster flat out said, yeah. And even though they have the depth to make Jordan Hicks a reliever, they still went forward with keeping him in the rotation. So I think that says a lot based on the way they view him. And if we look at July and Jordan Hicks is out of gas and he doesn't have his legs underneath him, and his velocity's down as a starter, he can't have the stamina to pitch even into the fourth or fifth inning, then you move him into the bullpen. And what did we see when he moved into the bullpen last year? He was up to 99, 100, the vintage Jordan Hicks from his St. Louis days.
Yeah. It just makes the one thing I'll say about Hicks is he has been kind of burned a little bit by the big inning, which every starting pitcher has. I mean, how many games have we seen where, a pitcher goes 5-6 innings and there's, 4 5 zeros on the board and then one really ugly crooked number. I mean, Jordan Hicks, if you take away a bad 5-run inning in Philly, a bad 3-run inning in the 6th inning on Tuesday, that 6+ ERA is in the 4s and you're feeling a lot better about him. So it's really avoid these big innings. We'll see as things progress here. Before we get out of here, Steven, he started off on the bench yesterday, but he came in and ended up getting a big hit to get the game-winning rally going. And that's Wilmer Flores. Like, it seems like I never thought we'd be talking about Flores this much. 27 RBIs, leads the National League right now. I mean, that's just a stat that makes sense right now. He's on pace for over 100 RBIs. This is a guy who's a career high RBIs of 71. At what point is this no longer a hot start for Wilmer Flores? And this is just what we're going to be seeing for the duration of the season.
I think if this isn't what we're going to be seeing, we're still going to be seeing consistent at-bats, professional at-bats, because that's who he's always been. And the only downside to Wilmer Flores is that you're not able to play him at first base. Like, that's the only downside. And there's reason. There's reason for that. They want to keep him healthy. They need to keep him healthy. They need to make sure his bat's in there. He got a day off yesterday, and Bob Melvin said before the game, well, his day offs are great because then we get to use him late in the game. And it's like, so he's such a valuable piece. And we're at the point where there's like a few Giants on this team where fans every single year, they ask for their heads. Tyler Rogers, Mike Yastrzemski, Wilmer Flores. They've been 3 of the longest tenured guys on this team. And it is time to say, and it's always been time to say, we could have said this for years now, they have been good Giants.
They have been.
They have been good Giants. And it's time to recognize that with Yastrzemski, with Rogers, with Flores. And Flores is leading Major League Baseball in runs batted in, ahead of Arson Judge.
I mean, again, like I said, it's stats that make sense. I look at what's different with Flores this year, at least to start things off. One thing that's different is just he's not chasing the breaking ball as much as he has been the last couple of years, and that's been a big reason for his improvement. He's in 382 against breaking pitches this year. And for those not in the know, sliders, sweepers, curveballs, that's what's going to make up most of your breaking pitches there. You saw a great example of it. Wednesday night against Freddie Peralta in the 4th inning. Starts him off with a curveball low, completely ignores it, doesn't go at it all, spits on it, fouls off a slider, and then he whiffs at another low slider. Again, he's not laying off all of these. And then again, Peralta tries to go low and away at the slider. Flores just spits on it. And then Freddie goes with a changeup up and in, and then he gets a single up the middle. Flores has been so much better at knowing which pitches to go at. He's not chasing anymore. He doesn't love that low and away pitch anymore. It's just, it's simple adjustments like that at the plate that you're seeing him this season is why I feel like, as you said, we will, even if we're not seeing, this current leading the league in RBIs version of Wilmer Flores, like I would bet that he finishes under 100 RBIs. You're still seeing like it's adjustments like that is why I'm very confident in believing that Wilmer Flores is going to be a far more productive player at the plate this year than he has been over the last 2 years.
Yeah, no, and you summed it up perfectly, Sam, when you said you didn't think we'd be talking about Wilmer Flores this much. And I didn't either. And I don't think a lot of people thought, because when we saw the lineup projections of the 2025 San Francisco Giants and we looked at first base DH and we looked kind of towards the bottom of the order, we're like, wow, the Giants are like a hitter or a hitter and a half short. And like now the position in the lineup where like you thought you'd be getting no production, you're getting like top level production. And I agree 100%. Like you said, like if it thins out,
that's been the source. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could even say that he's exceeded season expectations in the month of April. I would go that far into saying that.